talked a little bit about bringing Milo Manara for Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to know more about that. Like, why bring him in, first of all, because you've always drawn Sin City, so why?
I've always drawn Sin City, and I've also always declared nobody else will ever be allowed to do it.
Pretty much.
So there I was, in Italy. I was on stage with Milo Manara. There he just turns to me and puts me on the spot. He says, "Would you write me a Sin City story?" I'm sorry. My word doesn't mean shit, okay? I shook his hand on the spot.
So now anytime I need something from Frank, I call Milo. Just tell him to request.
No, that was to me. That was just too good an idea.
No, it's good.
I mean, it's just the. I cannot think of anybody else that I would have reacted that way to.
Mm-hmm. Dan, what is it like editing Frank?
You don't edit Frank.
You don't edit Frank?
You
Okay,
don't edit Frank.
That's the short answer.
No, I learn. It's kind of fun. I love talking character. I love talking story.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much fun that is.
Yeah.
Because as I always say, in any position, any job, you never want to stop learning. You know, you don't never want to be custodial in your position. I mean, you just keep it going.
Also, I got to say, there's two kinds of people in that position, and as I worked with both, and and the two kinds. One is the one who's cautionary, who is worried about what his superior or somebody somewhere in Dubuque is going to say in response to something. If it varies from what's been done, in the past. And there's the other kind who simply looks at the situation, the problems, and the project for what it is, and attacks it, on that premise. So it's like if it feels out of line from the intent of the work, objects. If it feels correct or inspired, it goes with it. Dan is that kind.
So I don't want to hold you guys too much longer, but you did talk already about the goals of Frank Miller Presents. So
could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Ask him about Pandora, because I want to see him gush on Emma Kubert.
No, absolutely.
I love watching this. He turns into a little school kid, like, oh, I can't believe it's so great.
Yeah, tell me about Pandora, because Emma Kubert. I've actually interviewed her before. She's a great interview. She was great to talk to.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Pandora is a fantasy book. It is a story of a precocious young lady who exposes the world to demons. But it's got a little bit of Wizard of Oz in it too, because it's also an adventure into the unknown. It's a book where we are doing straight out fantasy. That it's not based on violent conflict or anything like that, and it's got lots of goblins and demons and that sort of thing in it. Emma is doing a spectacular job. She's a very worthy Kubert, and I think it's going to be a beautiful book. It's going to be one I'm being very proud to be part of.
Yeah, but Emma comes over and they just sit and talk art. And they're both talking and sketching at the same time, and it's fascinating to see, because now I've watched Frank work with 3 generations of Kubert for the most part.
That's so fun. Yeah, wow.
And it's think about it, and I've seen it, and so for me, something really kind of wonderful about that. And we talk about craft and we talk about legacy, and you see the passing of information from generation, but it's not just a straight one for one. You see it adapting and evolving with each generation, and I think that's what makes it even more interesting. You see a lot of the different generations in each of the art, but each one becomes unique to themselves.
Well, it's interesting that we have this conversation in the shadow of Joe Kubert too, because that was Joe's dream. That's where the school came from. And if you look at Joe's work from the earliest days through to his most adventurous work as he got older, you see a progression, an increased mastery that just got better. I mean, it's just his last few pieces of work were just extraordinary.
Yeah.
Emma gives him a cameo in Pandora, and it's just absolutely lovely, because to see him from a granddaughter's eyes is all of a sudden he's this much older guy than I remember. Yeah. The Joe Kubert I remember was giving a talk at DC Comics, and he gave a lecture on how to work. It wasn't a lecture on how to draw. He simply stormed around the room and talked about work habits. And it was, I felt like it was a drill sergeant talking to us. And it was World War II, even though he was way too young for World War II. Yeah. But he said things like, when I draw. I don't talk on the phone. I don't listen to the radio. I don't smoke. Well, after that, I went home to my studio and I
turned on the radio and had a cigarette.
No, I put the ashtray over away and put the radio across the room, and that lasted a good 3 hours. Yeah. but the message was clear that discipline was key to everything, and you see it in his offspring. The work is the kind of work you can only do with discipline. Yeah.